It's 2 a.m. You're lying in bed exhausted, but your mind won't stop. You replay every conversation you had that day. You rewrite your choices, relive your mistakes, rehearse imaginary futures that never happen. You're not in danger, but your brain acts like you are, overthinking. It's the silent exhaustion we all carry. It's not just thinking too much. It's thinking without peace. You tell yourself, I need to stop overthinking. But that thought is another form of overthinking. So how do you escape a loop that feeds on itself? That's what we'll explore today. Not just why you overthink, but the one method that can bring silence to the noise. People often believe overthinking is indecision or worry. But in truth, overthinking is the brain's attempt to control what it cannot predict. Your mind is a prediction machine. It constantly tries to calculate outcomes to keep you safe. When something feels uncertain, a decision, a relationship, your future, your brain floods you with scenarios, trying to protect you from pain. That's not weakness. That's your survival system. The problem is that your mind evolved for physical threats, not emotional ones. It can protect you from a tiger in the jungle, but not from your own imagination, so you spiral. Not because you're broken, but because your brain is doing its job too well. Overthinking is protection turned into paralysis. Neuroscientists have identified a network in your brain called the default mode network. It's what activates when your mind wanders. It's responsible for reflection, imagination, and planning. But when anxiety, uncertainty, or guilt are present, that same network begins looping, reanalyzing. The same thought from every possible angle. That's the biological root of overthinking. Cognitive psychologists describe it as rumination, mental replay without resolution. Every loop gives you a small hit of control, a feeling that if you think long enough, you'll finally figure it out. But thinking isn't solving. In fact, studies show that the longer you ruminate, the more your stress hormones rise, and your brain literally starts to confuse thinking about a task with doing it. That's why overthinkers often feel drained without accomplishing anything. You've burned emotional calories on mental simulation with no real movement in the physical world. Overthinking slowly rewires your relationship with yourself. Every time you replay a mistake, your brain reinforces the belief that you can't be trusted. Every what if tells your nervous system, I'm not safe here. So you become cautious, hesitant. You plan instead of live. You prepare instead of act. You spend hours in your head trying to think your way into peace. But peace never arrives. Because peace isn't found in control. It's found in acceptance. And acceptance is something an overthinking mind fears most. Because it feels like surrender. But what if surrender isn't giving up? What if it's the beginning of freedom? You can't stop overthinking by thinking about stopping. That's like trying to quiet the ocean by shouting at the waves. The harder you fight your thoughts, the stronger they grow. This is called the paradox of thought suppression. When you try not to think of something, your brain keeps checking to see if you've stopped, which brings the thought right back. That's why advice like just relax never works. The only way to quiet the mind is to stop treating every thought like a command. A thought is not truth. It's noise, passing signals from an anxious brain. You don't need to control your thoughts. You just need to stop obeying them. The moment you notice you're spiraling, pause. Take one slow breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth, then name the loop. Say to yourself, my mind is trying to protect me. This is just my brain seeking certainty. When you label a mental process, your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, reactivates. This simple awareness interrupts the automatic panic cycle. Naming the loop doesn't make it disappear instantly, but it creates space, a distance between you and the storm. And in that distance, clarity lives. The cure for overthinking is never more thinking. It's movement. Action grounds you in reality. It pulls you out of imagination and into the present moment. When your mind loops on what if, choose one small concrete action. Send the message. Wash the dish. Go for a walk. Write one sentence. Doesn't have to solve the problem, and it just needs to prove that you can move despite uncertainty. Neuroscience calls this behavioral activation. Each small action releases dopamine, the brain's reward, signal for progress, and quiets the default mode. Network, you teach your brain, we're safe. We can move forward even if we don't have all the answers. Do this often enough, and the mind learns that stillness, not endless thinking, is where safety lives. When your thoughts spin out of control, bring your focus into the body. This re-anchors your nervous system. Try this simple. Method 1, name 5 things you can see. 2, 4 things you can touch. 3, the things you can hear. 2 things you can smell. 1, slow breath. This is a grounding technique. It turns overthinking into observation. It signals your amygdala that there's no danger here. The body relaxes, the mind follows. Remember, anxiety lives in imagination. Peace lives in sensation. One reason overthinking consumes your day is that you've given it unlimited time. Your brain will think until you decide it's done, so give it boundaries. Set a 10-minute worry window. During that time, write down everything on your mind, every fear, every what if, every doubt. Don't analyze, just dump. When the timer ends, close the notebook and walk away. This trains your brain that worry has a home, and that outside of that home, life continues. This isn't denial. It's discipline. You're teaching your thoughts to respect your peace. Overthinking often comes from stories you tell yourself, stories about failure, rejection, or regret. You replay the past, imagining how it should have gone. But here's the truth. Your brain doesn't distinguish between memory and imagination. When you relive a painful moment, your body feels it as if it's happening again. So rewrite the narrative. When you catch yourself replaying, say, that moment taught me something. That mistake helped me grow. That fear showed me what matters. You're not erasing your past. You're reframing it into wisdom. That's how overthinkers evolve into deep thinkers. When they turn reflection into learning instead of punishment. Every overthinking loop starts with the same root fear. I don't know what will happen, but no one does. Uncertainty is not the enemy. It's the natural state of life. Trying to eliminate it is like trying to stop the tide. Instead of fearing uncertainty, practice trust. Not blind optimism, but trust in your ability to handle whatever comes. Say to yourself, I've survived every uncertain day so far. I'll survive this one too. Faith, not in outcomes, but in resilience, is the end of overthinking. Imagine your mind as a sky, wide, infinite. Your thoughts are clouds passing through. Some are light and fleeting, others are dark and heavy. Overthinking happens when you forget you're the sky and start identifying with the clouds. But when you step back, when you remember that, thoughts come and go, you realize peace was never gone. It was just hidden behind the noise. You don't need to clear every thought. You just need to stop chasing them. The next time your mind won't stop racing, don't fight it. Just pause, breathe, and name it for what it is. A mind trying too hard to protect you. Smile at it. Thank it. Then take one small action, no matter how small, to bring yourself back into the present. That's how overthinking ends. Not by controlling your thoughts, but by returning to your life. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next step and trust that clarity will meet you along the way. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness beneath them. Welcome to Evolve Daily. If this brought you peace, comment, "I'm evolving." And remember, stillness is strength and simplicity is clarity.